all the entourage moved to Italy for the Milan-San Remo 294 miles classic. And this was a race which everybody wanted to win, including Stephen Roach, seen here in the lead from Marc Madiot of France. Then came the attack that counted, and after a long breakaway of 120 kilometres by Australia's Phil Anderson, Francesco Moser of Italy decided to go for home. Moser has never won the Milan-San Remo Classic, and he knows it's the one big blot on an outstanding cycling career. He descended the Poggio Hill into the Via Roma with all the confidence that one would expect from the new world hour record holder, and he saluted the crowd for his first ever victory. Just a few seconds behind him came the pack of survivors, and right at the front, bursting from the middle of the picture, comes Sean Kelly of Ireland, and he's there again, this time in second place. Then came the cobblestones between Paris and Roubaix. In the 82nd Paris-Roubaix race, this really was the most romantic classic of the year, as it always is. A large field of over 200 cyclists left the village streets of Compiègne, which is about 80 kilometres north of Paris, but they knew that over 60 miles ahead lay the area of northern France known as the Hell of the North. Traditionally, in the early hours of the race, the small riders attack. Then the roads become quite severe. They're only used normally as farm tracks, and in fact even motorists don't drive down them normally. This is Ralf Hofferditz from West Germany. Then the field began to split up. Riders tumbled down rather like the Grand National. One ambition of many cyclists is simply to finish without falling. The faces here tell many tales. Henny Kuiper passes through the picture there. But 5 hours of effort seemed to be wasted when a Gutstream was coming along and the level crossing gates were closed. The riders were exasperated as they were held at the level crossing. But they needn't have been, because this is France, and it's the trains that give way to Paris-Roubaix. And when they were sure it was going to stop, the leaders were on the way again. Sean Kelly of Ireland and Rudy Rogier of Belgium were trying now to catch up with the leaders. While behind them, there was the usual carnage one comes to know about in Paris-Roubaix. Teammates change wheels because the following vehicles simply can't get through. This is what the public come to see, a rider running with his bicycle on his shoulder, tangling with the Forestry Commission. And Laurent Fignon, the winner of the Tour de France last year, here in much more undignified circumstance. His teammate Jules Pascal is equally in trouble because he's fallen. And the face of dejection, a rider with no help, left alone, and a flat back tyre. The two riders who were undoubtedly the stars of this year's Paris-Roubaix was Alain Bondieu of France and Gregor Braun of West Germany, and they led the race for over 100 kilometres. Alain Bondieu was especially keen to get to Roubaix first because he lives there. But Sean Kelly, he had other ideas, and once his team manager had told him to attack, he quickly went to join the two leaders, and then there were four. Rogier was there as well. Then, under instruction again, Kelly began to attack on some of the final stretches of bad road. The Irishman was hoping for his finest ever victory, and it was helped when Bondieu fell, because Bondieu was one rider who possibly could have taken on Kelly at the finish. Once clear of everybody except Rogier, Kelly was not too concerned. And when Rogier led into the velodrome at Roubaix, he still wasn't too worried, because Kelly is now considered to be the fastest sprint finisher in the world. And Rogier, second in the World Amateur Road Race Championships in 1981, has no pedigree as a professional. But he has now, because as Kelly comes home for the greatest win of his career, Rogier takes second place. But Kelly is the man. Just a week later, and the riders are in Belgium for Liege-Bastogne-Liege, a distance of 246 kilometres. And Phil Anderson, winner of the Amstel Gold a year ago, is trying to make amends for his classic season so far. With him, Laurent Fignon, the rider we saw by the roadside in Paris-Roubaix. And it seems this time that Anderson is not at all pleased with the working rate of Fignon. Fignon seemed as though he would always follow in Anderson's wheel tracks, while behind, Claude Coquillion, here in the centre, was in a group which also contained, of course, the man from Ireland, Sean Kelly. There too is Marc Madio, last year's winner, Stefan Rooks. The world champion from the USA, Greg LeMond. Behind him, Henny Kuiper, winner of Paris-Roubaix a year ago. Anderson tried to rid himself of Fignon by attacking him, because Liege-Bastogne-Liege, surprisingly enough, is one of the hilliest classics on the calendar. It's in the Belgian Ardennes. Here, wearing 151, is Sean Kelly. This is Rooks. Then comes LeMond. And once again, Kelly is showing that he is now the #1 cyclist in the world. But Phil Anderson from Australia tried desperately hard to win this race as he dragged Laurent Fignon in his slipstream. Fignon was anxious to see where the rest were, and they weren't far behind, and soon, with just 2 kilometres to go to the finish, they were all together. It was a brave attempt by the Australian-French tandem, but it failed, and Sean Kelly was now back in with a chance of yet another victory. This was Claude Coquillon who started the move for the finish. It didn't work. Stefan Rooks tried too, but all the rides were there, especially Sean Kelly and Greg LeMond. Then Fignon attacked. It was a good move because Fignon isn't a sprint finisher. But he too was caught, and Kelly raced ahead of Phil Anderson and Greg LeMond to win Liege-Bastogne-Liege. It was Kelly's 14th victory of a season, which is not yet 7 weeks old. It's not surprising he is becoming known throughout Europe as the Cannibal.